Just wait for Will. Okay, Will. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg Kehoe. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida. I'd just like to introduce a few folks to you that are here with me on the podium. And to my right, immediate right, is Special Agent Matthew Fodor of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. To my immediate left is David Jaffe. He's the Chief of the Violent Crime and Racketeering Section for the Department of Justice. We also have some participating agencies over to the far right from the Florida Department of Corrections is Christy Nolan. From the Orange County Sheriff's Office is Bill. Where is Bill? There he is. Is Captain Bill Hinckley. Far over to my left is from the Orlando Police Department, Lieutenant Jeff Backus, and I also have some FBI agents behind us. Assistant Special Agent in Charge Brian Heron, and next to him in the middle out here is Special Agent Cameron Smiley, and Special Agent Scott Archer is immediately behind, to the left of Agent Smiley. Excuse me. Right behind Special Agent Fodor. What we're going to announce here today is the indictment of 11 individuals and the charges that you have before you, and I trust you do have the indictment. Those charges range from conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Practices Act, RICO, violent crimes in aid of racketeering and narcotics trafficking. The focus of this indictment is a criminal gang called Sex, Money, Murder 24K. It's a renegade gang operating independently throughout the United States and regionally. It initially was connected to the Bloods coming out of California. It evolved into the Bronx and the East Coast, and it made its way down to Florida in the 1990s, and it's firmly ensconced here. Let it be said that this criminal organization, Sex, Money, Murder 24K, is a sophisticated organization that is involved in narcotics trafficking, making money to protect each other, and involved in retaliation that anyone transgresses. Is an organization that operates with a sophisticated hierarchy and operates with rules and regulations. As we speak today, many of the members of Sex, Money, Murder are incarcerated in the Department of Corrections facilities throughout the state of Florida. Nevertheless, both within the facilities of the Department of Corrections of the state of Florida and on the street, these members of Sex, Money, Murder 24K are operating on a continuous basis as we speak. One of the individuals that you're going to hear about throughout all of this and is listed in the indictment is an individual by the name of Tyrone Conaway. He is central to the scheme, especially the drug trafficking scheme that you have set forward with you. He was initially in the Avon Park Correctional Facility, and in there he trafficked in contraband and drugs over a significant period of time, and what they did with the profits of that were several-fold. They provided money to the SMK hierarchy with the intent to advance and impact the advanced sex, money, murder throughout the state of Florida and throughout the Department of Corrections, and to have a significant impact on individuals within the Department of Corrections facilities. It was an impact, presence, and force. They took steps to protect their organization. You'll see another name coming in this indictment by the name of Hernando Thompson, and at the end of this we can go through exactly what these individuals did. But Conway conspired with Thompson to manage and organize Sex, Money, and Murder 24K to protect this drug distribution network. How did they do this? They murdered any member of Sex, Money, Murder 24K for violating the rules. With regard to non-members, they would retaliate against non-members for any transgressions or any perception that another member of Sex, Money, Murder 24K was being attacked by a non-member. Conway and Thompson had these violent acts carried out by other defendants that we have before us on behalf of Sex, Money, Murder 24K, including Alvin James, Charles Mann, and Terry Tillman. And I'll go through what these individuals did specifically at the end of this. Conway and Thompson also conspired with many others regarding a drug distribution network in numerous Department of Corrections facilities throughout the state of Florida. Who's involved in that? The defendant Eddie James Rhodes, Tracy Honey, Monica Flores, Tyler Abbott, Junio Sandoval, and Elsie Sandoboy. What's central to this particular charge, in particular to this enterprise, and this is the sex, money, murder 24K, is a criminal enterprise under the Racketeering Act. It's a group of individuals associated to commit various crimes. And in this particular indictment, it is significant that it lays out a series of violent acts that were done against other inmates in the Department of Corrections facilities, and it explains the influence that someone like Conway, who may have been in Avon Park facility, would have in other facilities throughout the state of Florida. In other words, a hit list would go out to kill someone that was in another facility. Conway would put that out, and that attempted murder would take place. In January, the evidence is going to develop, and as it's set forth in the indictment, in January the 20th, 2023, a hit list was disseminated among the higher levels of Sex Money Murder 24K, directing members of Sex Money Murder to assault and murder Sex Money Murder members who violated the rules, who disobeyed the rules, and non-members of Sex Money Murder who had assaulted or threatened members of Sex Money Murder. Just a sampling of what happened in and among these individuals at the time is set forth in the indictment, but let me just explain a few. In January of 23, as I said, Conway directed that that there was a hit list put out against various individuals, and Conway, who's in Avon Park at the time, directed members of Sex Money Murder 24K who were at the DeSoto Correctional Facility, an entirely different facility, to murder an individual for lying to Conway and owing Sex Money Murder money. They put this individual on this hit list, and on January 29th, several days later, this individual was stabbed at the DeSoto Correctional Institution. Another individual, who's named as number 5 in the indictment, he was also on the hit list, and he was under someone that the defendant Tillman's authority. He was what they called, Tillman was number 5's big homie, but the word went out that he, number 5, was supposed to be murdered for lying and stealing from Sex Money Murder 24K. And lo and behold, several days later, February 23rd, 1923, Tillman attempted to kill person number 5 by stabbing him in the neck, while another member of Sex Money Murder, Charles Martin, who's also a defendant, acted as a lookout. Martin confirmed the attempted murder of person number 5 to Conway by text. So the attempted murder is taking place at one facility, and Conway is being informed of that in another facility that the attempt had taken place. It wasn't over there with number 5. After that particular hit was taking place, or the attempt to hit was taking place, the individual was moved to Hardy County, and several days later, and approximately 3 weeks later, another hit was put on number 5 at the Hardy County facility. Some individuals that were the attempted murder took place were not on the hit list. And you go to the indictment in number 6 and March 23rd, March 15th, 2023, Conway sent a text to Thompson about a murder regarding number 6, who was stabbed the next day at a Florida Correctional Institute. On March 17th, Conway updated Thompson about stabbing 6, and Conway told Thompson in a text that he ordered the hits of 2 more people. Those are people that were not even part of a retaliation. There is other individuals, and in the indictment it is person number 7, who was retaliated against because number 7 had threatened a member of Sex Money Murder. Between April 26, 2023 and April 27, 2023, Thompson and Alvin James exchanged text back and forth to coordinate the murder of number 7 in retaliation, as I noted, for number 7 challenging a Sex Money Murder 24 member. James then took it upon himself to look for number 7. The texts reflect, and his internet researches reflect, that on April 26th, Alvin James was looking through the Florida Department of Corrections website, and he did internet searches looking for number 7. He found number 7 in the Apalachicola East Correctional Institute in Jackson County, Florida, and on April 28th, after an exchange of texts between Thompson and James, the plan was put out for the stabbing of number 7, which in fact they celebrated. They moved number 7 to another facility, and then approximately 3 weeks later at the Liberty Correctional Institute, number 7 was being stabbed once again with homemade weapons, clearly by people within sex, money, murder. That was something that was going on continuously throughout all of this. You will see the indictment that was replete with these acts of violence, this coordinated acts of violence that emanated from a specific hit list, and orders were also given out to retaliate against any individuals who were not members who had threatened a sex, money, murder member. In and among all of this stuff was narcotics trafficking between and among these various facilities, and not just Avon Park, Charlotte County, DeSoto County, and the centerpiece in all of that with regard to the narcotics trafficking was the defendant Conaway. What you'll see is all of these defendants that we have before you are facing various penalties that go from mandatory life to just life in prison. Everybody is in custody at this time. 4 are in custody previously. 7 have been arrested today. But if I could just give you a rundown through some of these defendants that are before you, because I know it can be a bit confusing at the indictment. If we could just take it from top to the beginning name of Hernando Thompson, go through them all. I'll give you an idea of what these individuals have done. Hernando Thompson, he was the designated leader of Sex, Money, Murder 24 in Florida in 2022. He was involved in ordering certain sex, money, murder members to be murdered for violating the sex, money, murder rules, and non-members for attacking sex, money, murder members. Alvin James, second defendant, he's a high-level member of sex, money, murder who participated in the murder of sex, money, murder members for violating rules and also for attacking non-members. Tyrone Conaway, he's the individual I've been speaking out throughout. He is the high-level member in sex, money, murder, still currently incarcerated. He's organized the narcotics trafficking not only in Avon Park, not only in Charlotte, but in facilities all throughout the state of Florida. He is also the one who directed the murder of number 1 for lying to him and also owing money to sex, money, murder. He was the one who was notified by Charlie Martin after the initial attempt to murder person 5 that attempt had taken place. And Conaway communicated with Thompson, who was his superior, about the efforts to murder number 6 and provided details of the staving. Charlie Martin, to repeat, he was involved in the attempted murder of number 5 and looked out as the lookout with Tillman when number 5 was being stabbed. Terry Hillman, as I mentioned also, he was the big homie, if you will. He was supposed to be the big brother of number 5. Number 5 was on the hit list, and he participated in the attempted murder of number 5 with Terry Tillman and Charlie Martin. Tracy Holman and these various individuals were involved in the narcotics end of the operation. Tracy Holman was involved with the narcotics operation involving Conaway smuggling drugs. Tracy Honey paid couriers to bring narcotics into Avon Park and routinely communicated with Conaway by cellular phones smuggled into the facilities by Conaway, and coordinated the narcotics trafficking throughout the Department of Corrections facilities. So Tracy Honey was initially extremely involved with Conaway on the narcotics trafficking end. Monica Flores, she likewise coordinated with Conaway on text messages to organize narcotics trafficking in the Charlotte County facility. Eddie James Rhodes, he distributed narcotics drugs with Conaway and for Conaway by supplying drug couriers with drug shipments to be body carried into various correctional facilities in conjunction with Conaway. Tyler Abbott received drugs from couriers and posed as friend during inmate visitations throughout the summer of 2022 at Avon Park, and that was used as a ruse by Conaway to receive drugs from Abbott and others in the facility. Junio Sainville, S-A-I-N-V-I-L. He was an inmate at Charlotte Correctional. After he was released, he continued his narcotics trafficking with Conaway and Honey and Flores to smuggle drugs into the Charlotte County facility. He participated in packages going to the Charlotte County facility in conjunction with L.C. LeBoy, who was a companion of Sandville, and LeBoy and Sandville participated in selling packages, giving packages, and sending packages to Conaway, first in Avon Park, but then in the Charlotte County Correctional Institution. So what you're seeing here is a sophisticated, organized gang that operates throughout the Department of Correction facilities throughout the state of Florida, is involved in significant narcotics trafficking in all of those organizations, and most importantly, using force and violence and murder to ensure that that operation continues safely, and that if anybody transgresses or threatens that organization by members internally or outside, then they will be taken care of within the facility itself. So right at this point, I'd like to bring up Special Agent Matt Fodor for a few comments in this regard, and then I'd like to bring up Chief Jaffe for a few comments as well. Matt?
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon. I'm Matt Fodor, Special Agent in charge of the FBI Tampa Field Office. This criminal network led a trail of terror and violence across Florida. But as you just heard, the power of partnership and the strength of federal resources resulted in the disruption of Sex, Money, Murder 24K, with the federal indictments of 11 top-level gang leaders on charges ranging from drug trafficking within the state prison system to conspiracy to commit murder. They're individuals who paved a well-worn path in and out of jails throughout the state of Florida and the Florida prison system. Some of them have rap sheets that are more than 40 pages long, with crimes dating back 20 years plus. But now, because of the federal engagement, they could be looking at 20 plus years behind bars. When it comes to tackling the violent crime threat, the FBI's goal is to maximize impact, surge resources and partnerships, and build cases that cut into the capabilities of these criminal networks. While we are proud of the exceptional work in this investigation, it is not over. There's a lot of work to be done to erase the threat of violence in our communities. But let today's actions serve as a warning to those who think they may have the upper hand. This is what you're up against. Continued federal pressure targeting violent gangs and the commitment and tenacity of federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies on the front lines. I want to thank our partners and our FBI Orlando squad for their leadership, dedication, and unwavering commitment to the community. We continue to strive to make Middle District of Florida the safest place in America to live. We will not fail in this mission to crush violent crime and defend the homeland. Thank you.
Just before I bring up Chief Jaffe, I want to emphasize one thing about what a tremendous cooperative effort this has been. The Florida Department of Corrections has been an outstanding partner throughout this, and we have before us the Orange County Sheriff's Office, who were instrumental in this, as well as the Orlando Police Department. The fact of the matter is that, yes, this is a federal investigation with the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, but the Department of Corrections, the Orlando PD, as well as the Orange County Sheriff's Office were intricately and essential to this entire investigation, and we would not be where we are today and continuing this investigation without their assistance. At this point, I'd just like to bring up Chief Jaffe to say a few words.
Thank you, Attorney Kia. Good afternoon. I'm David Jaffe, Chief of the Violent Crime and Racketeering Section at the Department of Justice's Criminal Division. That's up in Washington, D.C., Main Justice. And I'm excited and proud to join my colleagues here today in announcing this important indictment against members and associates of the Sex, Money, Murder 24K gang. This is an important indictment. It's important for the people of Florida and the people of the United States. It's important because the Sex, Money, Murder gang operates in Florida, New York, and up and down the East Coast, as you see in the indictment. It's important because Sex, Money, Murder 24K is a structured, violent criminal organization that wages war on our streets and in the prisons. Today's indictment is a first step in holding accountable the members and associates of the Sex, Money, Murder 24 gang for their vicious crimes. And because this indictment includes the federal RICO statute, those charged are not just the individuals who committed violent acts, but also those who ordered and directed those crimes. That's the power of the RICO statute. It allows us to bring to justice perpetrators at all levels of a criminal organization. The prosecutors with the Violent Crime and Racketeering Section are experts in the use of the powerful RICO statute to dismantle violent criminal organizations and gangs like Sex Money Murder 24K. And we are proud members of the prosecution team in this case. The only way to make these important cases is through law enforcement working together in close partnership. And this indictment is testament to the power of that partnership. The federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies represented by the individuals and people here on the podium today, coupled with the great prosecutors with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Middle District of Florida and the Violent Crime and Racketeering Section, came together, worked diligently and tirelessly to make this indictment a reality and to begin the process of securing justice. I'm going to thank U.S. Attorney Keogh for our federal, state, and local law enforcement for their excellent partnership in this case. We look forward to continuing this important work together to continue to prosecute this important matter. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Any questions, folks? Comments? Sir.
Do we know how many correctional facilities in the state they were able to smuggle the drugs into?
At this point, it's probably somewhere between approximately 5 that we have in this indictment, but the investigation continues.
And do you know an approximate volume of how many drugs were smuggled?
It's difficult to say. We knew it was an ongoing concern. I can tell you that what we have in the indictment right here is any number of narcotics that they're smuggling in here, and I can just list some of them for you. I mean, methamphetamine, obviously, synthetic methamphetamine, cannabinoids, and other things coming in there. It's difficult to say how much, but I think you let your imagination be your guide.
And when did the investigation begin, and how did you guys discover the scope of what was going on?
Well, I mean, I can't go into exactly how we got onto this thing. We received certain information, began to investigate it, but this particular conspiracy goes back to 2021 up until the present day. Sir.
Yeah, how big, are you still looking for other people as part of this investigation?
I will tell you that this investigation continues and will continue, and will do so vigorously. In other words, we're not done. We have 11 individuals here, but we are not done.
And how big is this gang unit or gang? For me, I've never heard of them, but how big is, how prevalent are they in the state of Florida?
I think they're quite prevalent in the prison system. They're very sophisticated. If you're asking me for a specific number, I don't know, but they are constantly in a recruiting mode. They are in all of the facilities throughout the state of Florida. And let it be said, this is not the only gang that's in that the Department of Corrections has to deal with. There are multiple gangs in our correctional facilities that have to be dealt with. But there is a constant recruiting effort going on in these jails. There is recruitment from one gang to another gang. So it is a problem that the correctional officers have to deal with on a daily basis. And the only thing, what we need to do is we need to continue with indictments such as this and press this and try to prosecute, disrupt, and dissemble these types of organizations as we move forward, because that is the only way to eliminate and keep any of this violence to a limited level. Are you completely going to eradicate it? Of course not. That's not possible. But certainly, with efforts such as like this, we can make great steps to control it. Sir.
Will you be able to provide us with the names of the victims at any point?
It'd be difficult to say. Yes, at some point we will be able to do that. Obviously, there will be a trial at some point where those individuals will be testifying. What we generally do at this point is do not provide those names, but they will be at some point. However, in your defense, if you have a deadline, I seriously doubt the names are going to be. We can't give you the names before your deadline, wherever that happens to be, unfortunately.
How far does this branch out to? Do they have connections in other parts of the country?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, what I think that Chief Jaffe was talking about was that there was a migration of the Bloods coming onto the East Coast. The Bloods evolved into a larger entity. Then they retracted themselves back into the Bloods, and then they became sex, money, murder sets, if you will. That's the terminology that began to grow throughout. And then there were doing it. They grew up regionally, they grew up state-wise, and then within the state they had various facilities. For instance, in here, the Thompson is supposed to be the reputed boss of Sex, Money, Murder 24K within the state of Florida, and Conaway is one of the regional bosses. So I think what we might want to not overlook here is how sophisticated and how organized this entity is. They constantly communicate with one another, text one another back and forth, keep each other informed, obviously have hit lists out, take care of transgressors, and it's all done for the purpose of obviously making money, trafficking narcotics, but also taking care of the organization and expanding the organization out as they see fit.
I see the charges for like attempted murder, conspiracy, murder. Are there any successful murders you guys are looking into by this gang?
Well, we're looking into everything. What we have before you now is what we're prepared to advance on attempted murders, but the investigation is going to continue into other areas. And one of the things that I think that you have to appreciate is that Sex, Money, Murder 24 has been, this indictment involves much of their activity within the Department of Corrections facilities. But their activities aren't limited to the Department of Corrections facilities. There have actions and orders go out from people like Conaway to various individuals that are out on the street, and we'll continue to look at that as well.
How important is all the agencies working together to get the information you need to get to where you are today?
Let me do it on more baseline. It's impossible. It's impossible to do these types of cases without the coordinated effort of everybody here. Obviously, the Department of Corrections, they have their people in the facility. The Orange County Sheriff's Office have people on the street getting information. The Orlando Police Department getting information for people on the street. Traffic stops. Who are these individuals? Identifying individuals. You coalesce that with the capabilities that the FBI brings to bear, the investigative capabilities and opportunities that they have. These are very, very difficult cases to do on an individual agency basis. And I think we learned that well a long time ago, as Chief Jaffe talked about. It's essential that we come together on all of these types of items with one goal in mind, to make our community safer, not only inside the Department of Correction, but on the street as well. And at the risk of repeating myself, we can't do it alone. And I don't think we ever will be. You know, it might be nice at some point, but I've been doing this for a long time, and the most successful efforts I've ever been involved in have been coordinated activities by state and local law enforcement with the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, and other federal entities to attack these problems.